Warhammer is one of the most famous tabletop games, and that is why there are so many video games based on the Warhammer Fantasy and 40k universe. So for those of you who love Warhammer or just would like to play some cool games, here are the top 10 Warhammer video games. Number 10. Warhammer 40k Regicide is a chess grid turn-based strategy game that is set in the Warhammer 40k universe. The game has great combat animations and features well-crafted 3D models of real Warhammer 40k units. Regicide offers two distinct modes: Regicide mode, where you can use firearm physics and tactical abilities to defeat your opponent, and Classic mode, which is a chess-based mode where you can play with Warhammer 40k units. This game has astounding gore animations that make for great entertainment while strategizing your way to victory. Number 9. Warhammer 40k Terran Invasion is a top-down grid-based turn strategy game that takes place in the Warhammer 40k universe. The player will take the role of the Space Marines and lead them to victory in a series of encounters against the Terranid race. Terran Invasion is available on mobile devices, and it has beautifully developed aesthetics and interface design and a very polished gameplay that makes for a greatly immersive experience. Number 8. Warhammer 40k Armageddon is an hexagonal turn-based strategy game where the players take control of the Imperial forces and a set of Space Marine chapters. The main objective over the campaign of this fantasy game set in the Second War of Armageddon is to defend the planet against the Orc invaders using Space Marines and Imperial Guards. Armageddon features a single-player campaign with customizable carryover veteran units and a multiplayer mode. Armageddon also has an in-game editor that allows users to create their own mods and share them with other players, making Warhammer 40k Armageddon a game with an extensive range of modifiable content for its future. Number 7. Blood Bowl 2 is a new release for the video game adaptation of the American football turn-based board game from Games Workshop, Blood Bowl. Blood Bowl 2 is a turn-based strategy game with touches of humor and brutality that works as an adaptation of the original tabletop version. Blood Bowl 2 features a single campaign mode that tells the story of the famous star team Ricklin Ravens and his way back to the top of the Blood Bowl League. Blood Bowl 2 also brings multiple single-player modes and a set of multiplayer modes. The multiplayer modes will allow players to create persistent teams that upgrade with experience and use them against other players in several modes, including a Create Your Own League mode. Making your own dream team from the 8 races from the Warhammer world: humans, orcs, dwarves, skavens, high elves, dark elves, chaos, and the Bretonnian newcomers will include gaining experience and unlocking new skills that will become available for your persistent team. Number 6. Dawn of War 2. Another great title that brings to life the universe of Warhammer 40k in the shape of a real-time strategy game is Dawn of War 2. Dawn of War 2 focuses on bringing a more fast-action approach to the previous release of the saga, Dawn of War 1, and does so by getting rid of the base building aspect of traditional strategy games. While this might be a drawback for some, if you are more of a fast-paced focused player, this might be a good twist for you. Instead of being a hardcore RTS, Dawn of War 2 mixes elements of role-playing games by making some squads you control in the campaign mode persistent. They will carry over mission to mission, grow, and evolve according to what gear you decide to equip and what skills you decide to improve. Number 5. In number 5 we have Warhammer Vermintide. Warhammer Vermintide takes place in the Warhammer Fantasy universe, more specifically in the city of Overstrike after it was overrun by the rat-like beings named Skavens. Vermintide takes a Left 4 Dead first-person-like approach to the universe of Warhammer Fantasy. Players will join matches with other players online and embark in missions through the different territories of the city. Vermintide allows players to choose between 5 different heroes based on characters from the Warhammer Fantasy lore. Heroes have a ranking system that can be updated by gaining experience and obtaining loot after the completion of every mission. Vermintide's survival cooperative first-person combat and shooter approach makes it one of the most high-paced action approaches to the Warhammer Fantasy universe. Number 4. On number 4 we have Warhammer 40k Eternal Crusade. Eternal Crusade is a game where players will be able to explore the Space Marines, Eldars, Orcs, and Chaos factions from an online third-person shooter perspective. Players will be placed in a persistent world and given a choice of faction. Once players have selected a faction, they will be able to fight with other fellow players against other factions to conquer and hold territories across the world. The game is fully adapted to play with a controller, and rage and melee attacks are equally important to master in order to defeat enemies. This set of highly polished controls makes the game a very versatile experience to learn about the universe of Warhammer 40k. Number 3. If you want to know what being a Space Marine in the midst of battle feels like, then Warhammer 40k Space Marine is your game. Titus, a Space Marine captain of the Ultramarines chapter, is sent to clear the incoming invasion of orcs in an Imperial Forge world, and you are to take the role of this captain to solve the situation. Warhammer 40k Space Marine features third-person shooter and a very engaging third-person melee combat. Players will have access to numerous weapons from the Space Marines, including the legendary bolter and chainsaw among many other weapons. Space Marines also features an 8 vs 8 online combat matches with a persistent experience mode that allows for unlocking and customizing armor for Devastators, Assault and Tactical Marine classes. Number 2. At number 2 we have Total War Warhammer. Total War Warhammer brings the Warhammer fantasy universe to life as a turn-based empire building game with large-scale real-time battles. Total War Warhammer allows players to explore the Empire, the Dwarves, the Vampire Counts, and Greenskins, and lead their forces to war by taking the role of one of 8 legendary lords from the Warhammer fantasy lore. Total War Warhammer will give players the option to lead legendary units to battle, use flying units to scout enemy territory, and for the first time in the Total War franchise, use magic in the battleground. These and many other great features makes Total War Warhammer a groundbreaking experience coming up in 2016. And on number 1 we have Dawn of War. Dawn of War is a real-time strategy video game set in the Warhammer 40k universe. Dawn of War takes a more traditional real-time strategy approach to the gameplay than its successor, by relying more heavily in base building and management to create and support troops in the battlefield. The game has a single-player campaign mode, a skirmish mode, and a multiplayer mode that can go from 2 up to 8 players. Dawn of War 1 allows players to explore the factions of Space Marines, Chaos Marines, Eldar, and Orcs, without requiring any additional expansion. But if you are looking into playing Imperial Guard, Tau, Necrons, Sisters of Battle, or Dark Eldar, you will need to get the expansion packs. Overall, Dawn of War 1 is a great strategy game that you should consider picking up if you really want to explore the 40k Warhammer universe. If you're excited to play any of these games, or you can think about others that would have been suitable for the list, please leave your comments below. Also, subscribe if you haven't, and click the like button if you enjoy watching the video. Hope to see you in the next video of the Jack Files.